It's wild how a single moment can shatter your entire life. One sentence, one admission, and everything you've worked for, everything you've believed in, is destroyed. I never thought I'd be in this position, writing this story to strangers. But here I am. I read a post just like this one today and it sent me spiraling back into a memory I've tried to bury. I've never talked about it, at least not like this, but maybe it's time. I was with my ex for 4 years before we got married. 4 years of my life, dedicated to a woman I thought I could trust. We started dating when we were both young and everything seemed perfect. We shared the kind of love that people talk about in movies. We laughed, cried, made plans for our future and talked about having a family one day. I thought I knew her, thought I could see into her soul. Hell, we got pregnant. I was thrilled, over the moon. Becoming a father seemed like the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. I never questioned her, she was my world. When she told me she was pregnant, I didn't hesitate for a second. We got married before the baby arrived because I was doing the right thing. I wasn't about to walk away from her or the child. I wanted to raise my family, to be the man she deserved. Sure, there were minor issues like in any relationship, but I believed we'd work through it. I'd give her everything I could and we'd build a life together, stronger than anything. And for 2 years I did. I loved that little boy like he was my own. It didn't matter that I wasn't the biological father. I was his dad. That's how I saw it. But everything started to unravel when I noticed the little things. The child didn't look like me. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just a coincidence. But as time went on, I began to notice more. He had features that didn't resemble anything from my side of the family. No resemblance in his eyes, his smile, not even the way he held his hands. My mind kept spinning these thoughts, but I refused to acknowledge them. I didn't want to think that my life had been a lie. But something kept gnawing at me. I couldn't ignore it forever. One day, after a heated argument over something stupid, she snapped. She didn't even flinch when she told me. It was like she had been waiting for the right moment to drop the bomb. "The baby's not yours," she said. "I slept with someone else before we were married." The words didn't even register at first. It was like my brain couldn't process it. I stood there, frozen, trying to make sense of what she was saying. But there was no denying it. I felt the floor drop from beneath me. She didn't care. She was calm, almost too calm, as if it didn't matter. As if I didn't matter. I don't know how long I stood there, just staring at her. But when the shock wore off, when the anger started to bubble up, I knew there was no turning back. Everything had changed. She had cheated on me before we even got married and I had no idea. For 2 years, I had been raising a child that wasn't mine, loving him like my own, and she had never told me the truth. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't trust anything she said after that. How could I? How could I ever believe that she hadn't been lying about other things? I felt like I had been living a lie. The entire foundation of my life had been built on a betrayal, and I didn't even know it. But the worst part wasn't even that. It was the way she justified it, the way she acted like it was no big deal. She said, "I was loyal in our marriage though. It was before." Like that somehow made it okay. I couldn't contain my anger anymore. I had given her everything. I had trusted her, believed in her, and for what? For her to stab me in the back like that? I was furious beyond furious. But it wasn't just anger. It was devastation. I couldn't look at her without seeing the lies she'd told me. How was I supposed to go on living with someone who had betrayed me so completely? I felt like a fool. And I wasn't going to let this go unpunished. But the real punch came when I realized that, despite everything, I was still going to be responsible for that child. Even though he wasn't mine, the courts didn't care. In my state, any child born within a marriage is legally presumed to be the husband's. So, even though I wasn't the biological father, I was stuck with the label. And that meant I had to pay child support for him until he turned 18. That's right. I was legally bound to support a child who wasn't mine. It didn't matter that she had cheated, that the biological father had skipped out on his responsibilities. I was the one who was going to pay. I remember the court hearings, sitting there knowing this wasn't right, but being powerless to do anything about it. I tried to explain my side, but it didn't matter. The law was clear. I was the father and I had to pay. I tried to fight it, but no one cared. The legal system doesn't reward honesty. It doesn't reward men who get screwed over. It rewards women who can lie their way out of everything. I was the one who was paying for her mistake. I wanted revenge. I wanted to make her pay for what she had done to me, for making me the fool, for stealing my happiness. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. But I couldn't just go out and confront her. That wouldn't solve anything. So I thought about it. I let the anger build, let it fuel my every decision. I started making plans, small things at first, little ways to disrupt her life. Nothing illegal, nothing too obvious. But I knew I had to do something to make her realize what she had taken from me. But as the months went on, the anger turned to apathy. I didn't care about the revenge anymore. What I cared about was making sure I could move on, that I wouldn't be consumed by this darkness. But no matter how much I tried to heal, no matter how many times I told myself it was over, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. And then, just when I thought life couldn't throw me anything worse, it did. I was mugged. On my way to work one morning, some random guys attacked me. I didn't even see it coming. They jumped me from behind, and before I could fight back, one of them stabbed me. The pain was unbearable. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was in the hospital, stitched up and battered. They told me I'd be okay, but I felt like a shell of myself. All I could think about was how everything in my life had spiraled out of control. The betrayal. The child support. The mugging. I had nothing left. But in a weird way, that was the moment when I realized that I had nothing to lose anymore. I had no reason to keep holding on to the pain. I was done. Done with her. Done with the lies. Done with the anger. I didn't care about getting revenge anymore. I cared about finding peace. If she wanted to live her life, let her. If I had to keep paying for that kid, fine. I would do it. But I wasn't going to let her destroy me any longer. So, I walked away from the chaos, from the need for revenge. Maybe I'll never fully heal from what she did, but at least I'm starting to rebuild. Slowly but surely. It's not easy, and some days the anger comes back in waves. But I'm getting there. And I'll be okay. One day, I'll be able to look at my life again without the weight of her betrayal hanging over me. And that's all I can ask for now.